Mary had a little lamb.
False. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
People are paying more and more attention these days, and they are trying to hide what they are doing up here.
The House Speaker downplayed those concerns.
I think what you have is you have a process where the sponsor of any legislation in the House, when they're standing up there, can request a roll call vote.
Chairman Dixie, you're recognized on your bill, 2489.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I start, I'd like to request a roll call vote.
I'm sorry we won't be able to do that because we've already voted on the amendment.
Yet here in the House Local Government Committee, Vincent Dixie's request for a roll call vote was denied because, according to the chair, the committee had already voted to add a technical amendment to the bill. That bill, drafted by area high school students, would simply have required schools to inform 18-year-olds how they could register to vote.
So I asked for a roll call vote because I wanted people to see the obstacles that we face here on a daily basis.
In fact, the House rules also say a roll call vote shall be taken at the request of the sponsor of the bill or resolution under consideration prior to any vote. The Republicans reinterpret that as prior to any votes of any kind being taken.
The rules say you can ask for a roll call before any vote.
Before any vote is taken.
That's not what the rules say.
I would have to refer you to the clerk.
And when it came time to vote,
all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No. So what did the students hear?
It sounded like yes. It sounded like the yeas.
Noes have it.
This is what goes on every single day in state legislatures. That happened to be the state legislature legislature in Tennessee, okay? Which we're now hyper alert to because they decided that the people voted and they didn't like the people's choice, so they were going to expel 2 members, black members, and keep the white one, keep Gloria. They finally did that report in Tennessee, and the people there were shocked and appalled to find out that there's so much cheating going on in the state house, and it's all by design. This is a strategy to push forward. That particular bill, the reason why I show you this one is because that particular bill was sponsored by high school students in the state of Tennessee. They asked if they could have permission to tell 18-year-olds in high school that they not only had the right to vote at 18, but how to do it, how they register to vote, and how they get a voter's registration. And the legislature in Tennessee, on the most feeble of acquiescence, on the most, basic, thing that they could say yes to, said no to it. They said no because they're trying to suppress voting. This is how we ended up where we are. The Republican leaders of this country, and they are the leaders of an ever shrinking group of people. They're the leaders of a sliver of us, okay? Of a minority of us. And that is why they gerrymander, and that is why they go after voting, and that is why they pull the drop boxes, and that is why they say voting by mail can only happen on this day or that day, or no, we're just going to do away with it, and you don't want to vote on paper, you want to vote into a machine. It's crazy, right? But they want to be in charge of the police powers of the government. They want to moralize our legislation. They want to moralize our laws. We are a nation of the laws of men, not a nation of a religious persuasion. Okay, that is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Okay, but they want to moralize the regulations. This is why they have us, talking about abortion and talking about bathrooms and talking about people that have always existed in the world, always, and still do everywhere around the world. There are gay people everywhere around the world. There are transgender people everywhere around the world. There are straight people everywhere around the world. There are women everywhere around the world. There are men, and everywhere around the world there's something in between. All of it, and God created every last bit of it. Every last bit of it. But they don't like that idea. So they want to legislate a different idea, their version of morality. And you know, how many times have you heard that saying, you can't legislate morality? Because you can't. You can only make laws about willfully lying. You can only make laws about, whether we have a free country or we don't, whether freedom is for all or it's not. And we decided in 1860 that it was for all. And they don't like it. And so they want to change it. And how are they changing it? They're turning private citizens into vigilantes, into enforcement officers. They're militarizing the police. You come with a semi-automatic pistol, they'll come with a long gun. You come with a long gun, they'll come with a tank. You come with a tank, they'll come with a bazooka. On and on it's going to go. You can have drone strikes in your city before you know it. And the expulsion of defiant Democrats. That's just the cherry on the cake of the day. But what happens when they go too far? What happens when they drift into oblivion? What happens when they say, no exceptions for rape and incest in Florida, in Arizona, in Arkansas, in Louisiana, in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Missouri, in Oklahoma, in Ohio, in South Dakota, in Tennessee, in Texas, in West Virginia, Wisconsin? What happens? People suddenly wake up. And then they tell you that's a bad way to be. Being woke is bad. It's bad. And that's because when they see the polling that everybody can see and they understand that 76% of their own party doesn't appreciate these laws, are against these laws, then all of a sudden they become the leaders of an ever shrinking minority. Listen, it's not just me saying it, okay? There are so many political science and philosophy professors and, sociology professors at Harvard, at Stanford, at Yale, all across this country that are starting to weigh in and are trying to tell you what I've been telling you. So, you owe me $40,000, $50,000 per semester. What do I ask for? $895 a month. No, you owe me $50,000 a semester is what you owe me, because they are all trying to tell you this. Nicholas Stephanopoulos, he is a law professor at Harvard. He said, quote, the state policy outcomes are becoming more bimodal. What does that mean? Liberal or conservative, rather than centrist. In previous eras, the misalignment between the public policy and the public in modern American politics, where modern American politicians went very extreme, but the public wasn't that extreme, actually caused all kinds of outrage, caused all kinds of protest. And he said the only way to get out of it is to get the radical right the message that they have to moderate themselves. They have to do something because the people are coming. That's what this movement in Tennessee represents. And that's why what happened to the Tennessee Three and what happened in Wisconsin just in these past weeks is so important to see and know. Activism actually works. Saying no to them actually produces a result. In Tennessee, Bill Lee, who is the governor of Tennessee, the right-wing radical governor of Tennessee, he sort of punted. I mean, he didn't do anything on the gun issue. He didn't do anything. But he said to the legislature through an executive order, okay, we have to moderate. We have to have red flag laws. I hope that we have enough people that agree with me. I hope that we do. To a completely Republican legislature, I hope that we have enough people who agree with me that, we've had a lot of death here in this state where we have no gun laws. We have none. We don't have universal background checks. We don't have red flag laws. We have permitless carry. We don't have safe storage rules. We don't have, any ability to keep guns out of the hands of people who are suffering with mental illness. Maybe we ought to do something. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.